A mind dominated by bad habits no longer belongs to you. It has become property of your addictions, slave to your weaknesses, prisoner of your impulses. Napoleon Hill spent decades studying the human mind and discovered something disturbing. Most people live their entire lives without ever taking control of their own consciousness. But he also discovered the reverse path. And today, you're going to learn exactly how to destroy every mental chain that holds you captive and rebuild a completely new mind from scratch. If you want to finally break the cycle keeping you trapped, then leave your like now, because every second of this video was designed to reprogram the way you think. A human being addicted to bad habits is a corpse that still breathes. They wake up every day controlled by forces they themselves created, never realizing their mind is no longer their own. And the worst part, they think they're free. They believe they're making choices, when in reality, they're just repeating patterns carved so deep into their neural pathways that their brain runs on autopilot toward destruction. Napoleon Hill taught that the human mind operates under specific universal laws, just like gravity or magnetism. And one of the most dangerous laws he identified was what we might call the law of negative attraction. Every time you feed a bad habit, you're not just repeating an action, you're broadcasting a frequency. And that frequency attracts more of the same energy back into your life. It's a vicious cycle that compounds exponentially. The smoker attracts stress that makes them smoke more. The procrastinator attracts failure that reinforces their procrastination. The person drowning in negative self-talk attracts circumstances that confirm their unworthiness. Hill discovered this through studying thousands of successful and unsuccessful people. He noticed that those trapped in destructive patterns weren't just unlucky. They were unconsciously magnetizing their own defeat through the consistent repetition of mental and physical habits that vibrated at the frequency of failure. Your habits aren't just behaviors, they're energetic signatures. And the universe responds to the signature you're broadcasting every single day. Listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you, because this is where most people get it completely wrong. They think breaking a bad habit is about willpower. They believe if they just try harder, resist longer, fight stronger, they'll win. That's a lie. Willpower is a limited resource, and bad habits are unlimited in their ability to wait for your moment of weakness. You cannot fight chemistry with courage. You cannot battle dopamine with determination alone. Napoleon Hill understood something profound about the human brain. He taught that the mind operates in two distinct modes, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is you right now, listening to these words, thinking about your life, making decisions. But the subconscious mind is the vast ocean beneath the surface. It's the autopilot system running 95% of your daily behaviors. And here's the critical part. Your bad habits don't live in your conscious mind. They live in your subconscious programming. That's why you can consciously decide to quit something and then find yourself doing it again 3 hours later without even remembering how you started. The subconscious doesn't care about your New Year's resolutions. It only knows patterns. It only responds to repetition. It only changes when you speak its language. So what's the language of the subconscious? Emotion and repetition combined with absolute belief. Hill called this principle autosuggestion, the conscious feeding of specific thoughts and commands to your subconscious mind until they become automatic programming. But here's what nobody tells you. Before you can reprogram anything, you must first understand what you're fighting against. You need to see the enemy clearly. Your bad habit has a structure. It's not random. It operates on a loop. There's a trigger, a routine and a reward. The trigger is the environmental cue or emotional state that activates the craving. The routine is the behavior itself. The reward is the neurochemical payoff your brain receives. Every single time you complete this loop, your brain reinforces the neural pathway that connects these three elements. The pathway gets stronger, faster, more automatic. This is why you can know something is bad for you and still do it. Knowledge lives in your conscious mind. The habit lives in your subconscious autopilot. And the autopilot always wins when there's a conflict, unless you deliberately reprogram it. Napoleon Hill taught that most people fail at change because they attack the behavior without understanding the system. They try to stop the routine without addressing the trigger or replacing the reward. That's like trying to stop a train by standing on the tracks. The momentum will destroy you. The first step in destroying a bad habit isn't fighting it, it's exposing it. You need to become a scientist of your own mind. For the next 48 hours, every time you engage in your destructive habit, stop and identify 3 things. 1. What happened right before you felt the urge? What was the trigger? Was it a time of day, a specific location, an emotional state, a person, a thought pattern? 2. What exactly is the routine? What are the physical actions and mental justifications that make up the behavior? 3. What reward are you actually seeking? Are you seeking stress relief, distraction, comfort, excitement, numbness, connection, validation? Write this down. Create a map of your habit loop. Because Hill discovered that awareness is the first weapon against unconscious programming. When you shine light on the automatic pattern, you interrupt the subconscious flow just enough to create a gap. And in that gap, change becomes possible. But awareness alone won't save you. Understanding your habit doesn't make it disappear. This is where the real work begins. Napoleon Hill taught about something he called transmutation of energy. The principle is simple but powerful. You cannot eliminate energy, you can only redirect it. The craving driving your bad habit is energy. The impulse is energy. The desire is energy. If you try to suppress it, it doesn't disappear. It goes underground and becomes stronger, more explosive, waiting for your guard to drop. Instead of suppression, you need substitution. Hill discovered that successful transformation happens when you take the energy of a destructive pattern and channel it into a constructive pattern that provides a similar reward. The smoker who takes up running isn't just avoiding cigarettes. They're redirecting the need for stress relief and the dopamine hit into something that strengthens instead of weakens. The person addicted to social media who starts reading books isn't just unplugging. They're satisfying the craving for mental stimulation and escape through a medium that builds rather than drains. This is the strategy. Identify your trigger, keep the same cue, but insert a new routine that delivers a comparable reward. Your brain doesn't care if the routine is good or bad. It only cares that it gets the neurochemical payoff it's expecting. So give it what it wants through a better channel. Here's where it gets deeper. Napoleon Hill taught that the mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant, it will grow. Whatever you water, it will flourish. Whatever you neglect, it will wither. Your bad habits are weeds, yes? But if you only focus on pulling weeds, you'll spend your entire life bent over in the dirt. The weeds will always come back because nature abhors a vacuum. Empty soil attracts invasive growth. The secret is to plant something so strong, so vibrant, so alive that it chokes out the weeds naturally. You don't just destroy bad habits. You crowd them out with habits so powerful they take over the entire garden of your mind. Hill called this the principle of displacement. Light doesn't fight darkness. It simply occupies the space where darkness was, and darkness disappears automatically. So what are you planting? What new behaviors are you introducing that are so rewarding, so aligned with who you want to become, that your old patterns start to feel boring by comparison? This is the question that separates those who merely wish to change from those who actually transform. Because transformation isn't about becoming someone who doesn't have bad habits. It's about becoming someone for whom those habits no longer make sense. But I need to tell you something Hill discovered that most people don't want to hear. Your environment has more power over you than your intentions. You can have the strongest desire to change, but if you stay surrounded by the same triggers, your brain will drag you back into the abyss. Nobody defeats an addiction by sleeping inside of it. You want to destroy a bad habit? Cut the triggers at the root. This isn't about resistance. This is about removal. If your kitchen is filled with junk food, your discipline is fighting a losing battle every time you walk past the pantry. If your phone is next to your bed, your mind never rests because the moment you wake up, the distraction begins. If you surround yourself with people who drink, smoke, waste time in empty conversations, no amount of prayer will save you from influence. The environment conquers promises. The surroundings defeat good intentions. Napoleon Hill studied this phenomenon extensively. He taught that you become the average of what surrounds you mentally, emotionally, and physically. Your brain is designed to adapt to its environment. What sits in front of your eyes determines what dominates your thoughts. So if you want real change, sanitize your territory. Create an environment where the new version of you can actually breathe. Remove from your sight everything that pulls you backward. Distance yourself from people who aren't evolving. Protect your mind like it's a sacred temple, because that's exactly what it is. It's the place where your destiny begins to be constructed. When you change the environment, the brain changes rhythm. The triggers lose their power. The habit begins to suffocate and die. Temptation doesn't disappear, but it loses its grip. And in that silence, space is born for the new. That's where you begin to rebuild what the old routine destroyed. Now pay very close attention to me. Your body is a perfect machine, but it only functions when synchronized with the natural rhythm of life. The problem is that most people are fighting against their own biological system every single day. They sleep late, wake up without energy, stuff themselves with stimulation and expect to have discipline. This is impossible. Your brain needs deep rest to rebalance hormones, restore neurotransmitters, and strengthen the circuits of change. If you sleep poorly, your mind becomes a factory of uncontrolled impulses. Lack of sleep dysregulates everything: focus, mood, willpower. It's like trying to drive a car without fuel and still blaming the engine. Want to rebuild your mind from scratch? Start by adjusting your body's natural cycle. Napoleon Hill emphasized the importance of what he called definiteness of purpose combined with physical vitality. You cannot have mental clarity without physical energy. And you cannot have physical energy without proper rest. The ideal is to sleep between 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. and wake near sunrise. It's in this interval that the body activates regeneration processes, producing the chemistry that stabilizes your mind. Sleeping less than 7 to 8 hours per night is the same as stealing energy from your own evolution. You wake up tired, irritated, and return to seeking quick rewards. The perfect ground for old habits to flourish again. The exhausted body seeks pleasure, and quick pleasure is the language of addiction. Do you see the cycle? That's why sleep is sacred. Sleeping well is the foundation of mental reconstruction. Discipline begins in bed. Clarity is born from rest. You want to think better, choose better, live better. Then treat your sleep like a ritual. Turn off your phone before bed. Dim bright lights and allow your mind to surrender to the natural darkness that the body understands as healing. Deep rest is the workshop where the brain rebuilds who you're becoming. And it's in that nocturnal silence that the foundations of new habits begin to be cemented. Hill discovered that the last thoughts you think before sleep are the ones that sink deepest into your subconscious mind. This is the moment of maximum suggestibility. Your conscious defenses are down, your analytical mind is shutting off, and your subconscious is wide open, ready to receive commands. This is why worrying before bed is so destructive. You're programming anxiety into your operating system. This is why reviewing your failures before sleep keeps you stuck. You're reinforcing neural pathways of defeat right when your brain is most receptive. But here's the flip side. This is also your greatest opportunity. If you deliberately feed your subconscious mind with the thoughts, images, and affirmations of who you're becoming right before sleep, you're programming success while you rest. Napoleon Hill called this the principle of sleeping on your desires. You don't just think about what you want. You emotionalize it, visualize it, feel it as already real, and then you sleep with that frequency resonating in your mind. While you sleep, your subconscious goes to work. It begins to reorganize your neural networks. It starts to align your automatic behaviors with your conscious desires. This is not mysticism. This is how the brain functions. The subconscious is always active, always processing, always building or destroying based on the last instructions it received. So here's your assignment. Tonight, before you close your eyes, spend 5 minutes in absolute focus. Visualize yourself free from your bad habit. See yourself choosing the new behavior with ease. Feel the pride, the freedom, the power of being in control. Speak to yourself. I am rebuilding my mind. I am creating new patterns. I am becoming the master of my thoughts. Do this with conviction, with emotion, with absolute belief, then sleep. And when you wake, the subconscious will have worked through the night to make that vision more real. This is the beginning of true reprogramming. But there's something deeper Napoleon Hill discovered, something he called the method of conscious death. It's a technique so powerful that understanding it requires mastering something more fundamental first. We'll get to that method soon. But before you can use it, you need to understand the weapon that makes it work. And that weapon is what we're about to explore next. The key that unlocks the subconscious mind and gives you the power to rewrite your identity from the ground up. For now, remember this. Destroying bad habits isn't about fighting harder. It's about understanding deeper. It's about mapping the loop, redirecting the energy, changing the environment, protecting your rest, and programming your subconscious deliberately instead of accidentally. Every bad habit you have exists because you've been unconsciously programming it for years. Now it's time to become the conscious programmer of your own mind. And the reconstruction starts right here, right now, with the decision to see clearly, to act strategically, and to never again surrender control of your consciousness to patterns that destroy you. You're not a victim of your habits, you're the creator of them. And what you created unconsciously, you can destroy consciously. And what you destroy consciously, you can rebuild with purpose. The old mind dies tonight. The new mind is being born with every word you absorb. And by the time we're finished, you won't just understand how to break bad habits. You'll possess the complete system Napoleon Hill discovered for becoming an entirely different person. Someone who doesn't fight temptation because they've transcended it. Someone who doesn't resist their old patterns because they've outgrown them. That person is waiting on the other side of this journey, and every second you invest in this knowledge is a step closer to meeting them. Now we enter the territory where most people lose the battle before they even understand they're fighting. Napoleon Hill spent years researching what separates those who successfully transform their lives from those who remain trapped in cycles of failure. And what he discovered will completely change how you approach your own mind. The weapon I'm about to reveal to you is called Autosuggestion. But don't let the simplicity of the name fool you. This isn't positive thinking. This isn't repeating affirmations while secretly doubting every word. This is the science of deliberately programming your subconscious mind through concentrated emotional repetition. It's the difference between wishing for change and engineering it. Hill taught that your subconscious mind accepts and acts upon any thought that reaches it with emotional intensity and consistent repetition, whether that thought is constructive or destructive. Most people have been practicing autosuggestion their entire lives without knowing it. Every time you tell yourself, "I can't do this," your subconscious accepts it as instruction. Every time you say, "I always fail," your subconscious arranges circumstances to prove you right. Every time you repeat, "This is just who I am," your subconscious locks that identity into place. You've been programming yourself toward limitation, toward weakness, toward defeat. Not because you're broken, but because nobody taught you that your internal dialogue isn't just commentary. It's command code. Your subconscious doesn't judge whether your thoughts are true or false, helpful or harmful. It simply executes whatever instructions you feed it most consistently with the most emotion. This is why breaking a bad habit feels impossible. You've spent years telling your subconscious that you're the kind of person who does this behavior. You've emotionalized the identity. You've repeated it thousands of times through your actions. Your subconscious has accepted the program and now runs it automatically. But here's the revolutionary part. The same mechanism that locked you in can set you free. Napoleon Hill discovered that you can reprogram your subconscious by feeding it new commands with greater emotional intensity and relentless repetition. This is autosuggestion in action. You consciously choose specific statements about who you're becoming, and you repeat them with absolute conviction, with feeling, with visualization, until your subconscious has no choice but to accept the new programming and begin manifesting it in your behavior. But there's a specific method to make this work. You cannot just casually mumble words and expect transformation. Hill identified 3 critical elements that must be present for autosuggestion to penetrate the subconscious and create lasting change. First, clarity. Your command must be specific and definite. "I want to be better" is meaningless to the subconscious. It's vague, shapeless, powerless. But "I am becoming a person who wakes at 5 a.m. with energy and purpose" is a clear instruction. "I want to stop eating junk food" is weak. "I am someone who fuels my body with intention and chooses nourishment over numbness" is powerful. The subconscious responds to precision. Second, emotion. This is where most people fail catastrophically. They repeat their statements like robots, without feeling, without belief, without fire. That accomplishes nothing. The subconscious only accepts suggestions that arrive wrapped in emotion. When Hill taught this principle, he emphasized that you must feel the truth of your statement, as if it's already real. You must generate the emotional state of being that person now, not someday in the future. If you're programming yourself to be free from a bad habit, you don't just say the words. You close your eyes and feel what freedom feels like. You visualize yourself moving through your day with that habit completely absent from your life. You feel the pride, the power, the clarity, the relief. You emotionalize the new identity so intensely that your subconscious begins to accept it as fact. Third, repetition. Once is not enough. 10 times is not enough. The old programming has been running for years. You need to overwrite it with consistent, relentless repetition of the new code. Hill recommended doing this practice at least twice per day, ideally right before sleep and immediately upon waking, because these are the moments when your subconscious is most receptive. But here's what makes this truly powerful. Napoleon Hill taught a technique he used himself, something he called the invisible counselors. This is advanced autosuggestion combined with creative visualization. Hill would sit in meditation and imagine himself surrounded by a council of great minds, people whose wisdom and character he admired. He would mentally converse with them, ask them questions, receive their guidance. This wasn't fantasy. This was strategic programming. By repeatedly visualizing himself in the presence of excellence, by mentally conversing with representations of the qualities he wanted to embody, Hill was programming his subconscious to adopt those characteristics. The subconscious mind cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. If you consistently visualize yourself consulting with mentors of discipline, strength, and wisdom, your subconscious begins to integrate those qualities into your automatic behavior. You can use this exact technique to destroy bad habits. Create your own invisible council. Choose 3 to 5 figures, real or fictional, who embody the freedom and strength you're building. Every morning and night, close your eyes and imagine yourself sitting with them. See them clearly. Hear their voices. Ask them, how would you handle this craving? How would you respond to this trigger? What would you do in my situation? Then listen. Let answers emerge from your own deeper wisdom, channeled through these representations of excellence. Your subconscious will begin speaking to you through these figures, guiding you toward behaviors that align with the identity you're constructing. This is how you make the unconscious conscious. This is how you gain access to wisdom that's been buried under years of destructive programming. But there's something even more powerful that Napoleon Hill discovered about the mind, something that explains why some people can completely transform in weeks, while others struggle for years with minimal progress. It has to do with timing. There are certain windows during the day when your subconscious mind is exponentially more receptive to new programming. Most people try to change themselves during their waking hours when the conscious mind is fully active, analytical, resistant. They're trying to install new software while all the old programs are running. It's inefficient, it's exhausting, and it rarely works. Hill discovered that there's a specific state of consciousness where the barrier between your conscious and subconscious mind becomes thin, almost transparent. In this state, suggestions bypass your critical factor and sink directly into the operating system. That state is the hypnagogic phase, the transition between waking and sleeping. In the moments right before you fall asleep and right as you're waking up, your brainwave patterns shift, your conscious defenses lower, your analytical mind quiets, and your subconscious becomes incredibly receptive to whatever thoughts and images you present to it. This is the window. This is when autosuggestion becomes 300% more effective. Hill understood this intuitively, and modern neuroscience has now confirmed it. The brain in this twilight state processes information differently. It accepts suggestions more readily. It forms new neural connections more easily. It's the golden hour of reprogramming. So here's your strategy. Every night, as you're lying in bed preparing for sleep, do not scroll your phone. Do not replay the day's failures. Do not worry about tomorrow. Instead, enter into deliberate autosuggestion. State your commands. Visualize your new identity. Feel the emotions of being free. Talk to your invisible counsel. Do this as the last conscious act before sleep. Your subconscious will then work through the night, processing these instructions, rewiring your neural pathways, preparing you to wake up slightly different than you were. And in the morning, the moment you open your eyes before checking messages, before thinking about problems, repeat the process. Reprogram yourself while your mind is still soft, still receptive, still in that powerful state between sleep and full waking consciousness. Do this consistently for 40 days, and you'll notice something extraordinary. The cravings that used to scream will begin to whisper. The triggers that used to control you will lose their grip. The autopilot behaviors will start glitching, hesitating, weakening, because you're attacking the problem at its source. You're not fighting the habit with willpower. You're reprogramming the subconscious mind that generates the habit. But here's where it gets challenging, and this is where your commitment will be tested. Napoleon Hill warned that when you begin this process of reprogramming, your old self will fight back. The ego, the identity that's been in control, doesn't want to die. It will use every weapon it has to convince you to stop. You'll experience what Hill called the testing period. This is when doubt floods in. This is when the voice of the old you says, "This is stupid, it's not working, nothing's changing, you're wasting your time." This voice is not truth, it's resistance. It's the old programming trying to survive. Because if you succeed in installing new code, the old patterns will be deleted. They will cease to exist. And they're fighting for survival. Expect this. Anticipate this. When the doubt comes, don't argue with it. Don't try to convince it. Simply continue the practice. Continue the autosuggestion. Continue the visualization. Continue feeding your subconscious the new instructions with emotion and repetition. The old voice will get louder before it gets quieter. That's a sign you're winning. Hill also taught something crucial about the nature of change that most people misunderstand. Transformation doesn't happen linearly. You don't get 1% better every day in a smooth upward curve. The brain changes in quantum jumps. You'll reprogram with seemingly no visible results. And then suddenly, overnight, something clicks. A threshold is crossed. The new neural pathway becomes dominant, and the behavior shifts dramatically all at once. People give up right before this moment. They practice for 20 days, see minimal change, and quit. They were 3 days away from the breakthrough. They were on the edge of the quantum leap. But they stopped feeding the program, and the old code reasserted control. Don't make this mistake. Trust the process even when you don't see the results yet. Napoleon Hill studied hundreds of people who transformed their lives, and he found this pattern repeated over and over. The ones who succeeded weren't necessarily more talented or more disciplined. They were simply more persistent. They continued the mental programming even when it seemed like nothing was happening. And then one morning they woke up and realized the craving was gone. The habit had died. They were different. This is the power of autosuggestion combined with strategic timing. You're working with the architecture of the mind instead of against it. You're using the same mechanism that created the bad habit to destroy it and install something better. It's elegant, it's scientific, and it works if you commit to the process. Now I need to tell you about something Hill discovered that takes this even further. He learned that there's a way to not just remove bad habits, but to transmute the energy, driving them into fuel for your goals. He called this the principle of transmutation of energy, and it's one of the most powerful concepts he ever taught. Every impulse, every desire, every craving contains energy. That energy is neutral. It's not good or bad in itself. What matters is the channel through which it flows. A person with powerful sexual energy can waste it on meaningless encounters, or they can transmute it into creative drive, business ambition, artistic expression. The energy is the same, only the direction changes. The same is true for any bad habit. The compulsion to smoke contains energy. The urge to procrastinate contains energy. The drive to numb yourself with food, alcohol, or distraction contains energy. Most people try to suppress this energy, to fight it, to make it disappear. This fails because energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be redirected. Hill taught that successful people learn to recognize the energy of their destructive impulses and consciously channel it into constructive action. The moment you feel the craving, instead of giving in or white-knuckling through resistance, you immediately redirect that energy into a predetermined positive behavior. Feel the urge to smoke? That's energy rising. Channel it instantly into 10 push-ups, a cold shower, or 5 minutes of deep breathing. Feel the pull of procrastination. That's energy-seeking release. Redirect it immediately into 10 minutes of focused work on your most important task. The craving for junk food? That's energy looking for satisfaction. Give it satisfaction through a protein-rich meal that actually nourishes you. This is not distraction, this is transmutation. You're taking the raw energy of the impulse and purposefully aiming it at a target that serves your evolution. And here's what happens. Over time, your brain begins to associate the trigger with the new behavior instead of the old one. The neural pathway gets rewired. The energy that used to flow toward destruction now flows automatically toward construction. This is how you transform a weakness into a strength. This is how you turn your greatest vulnerability into your secret weapon. The more intense the craving, the more energy is available for transmutation. The stronger the impulse, the more fuel you have for positive action. You stop seeing urges as threats and start seeing them as opportunities. Napoleon Hill applied this principle to every area of life. He taught that all achievement, all creation, all greatness comes from properly channeled energy. The person who learns to transmute mental and emotional energy becomes unstoppable, because they're no longer wasting their life force on habits that drain them. They're recycling every ounce of energy back into their purpose. But there's a practice Hill used that brings all of this together, a method that combines autosuggestion, strategic timing, invisible counselors, and energy transmutation into one comprehensive system. It's something he called the practice of 40 days, and it's the complete blueprint for rebuilding a mind from scratch. We're going to explore that practice in detail soon, but before we get there, you need to understand one more critical piece. Everything we've discussed so far works, but only if you create the right conditions. And the right conditions start with understanding the exact moment each day when your mind becomes a supercomputer of change. That moment isn't in the morning. It's not in the afternoon. It's right before sleep, during those precious minutes when your conscious mind releases control and your subconscious opens like a vault. What you program into your mind during this window determines who you wake up as. And what Hill discovered about this practice will give you the final key to permanent transformation. Get ready, because what's coming next is the complete method. The system Hill developed and proved through his own life and the lives of thousands of others. The practice of 40 days isn't just a technique, it's a rebirth. And by the time you finish learning it, you'll have everything you need to destroy every bad habit and reconstruct your entire identity from the ground up. The old you ends here. The new you is about to be engineered. Let me tell you something Napoleon Hill understood that most people never grasp. The moment right before sleep is not just important, it's everything. Those final minutes before your consciousness fades are when your subconscious mind is at its most vulnerable, most receptive, most programmable. This is the state Hill called the gateway to the infinite intelligence within you. When you're drifting into sleep, your brain waves shift from beta, the state of active thinking, down through alpha and into theta, the twilight zone between waking and dreaming. In this theta state, your critical mind, the gatekeeper that normally filters and questions everything, goes offline. The analytical barriers dissolve. And your subconscious mind, that vast reservoir of automatic programming, opens wide. This is why Hill obsessed over the practice of controlled pre-sleep thought. He understood that whatever you think about, visualize, and emotionalize in those final moments before sleep will sink into your subconscious without resistance. It will work on you through the night. It will shape your dreams, your neural pathways, your next-day behaviors. Your last thoughts before sleep are the seeds you plant in the most fertile soil of your mind. Most people completely waste this opportunity. They scroll through social media, filling their minds with negativity, comparison, artificial stimulation. They replay arguments, regrets, anxieties. They go to sleep marinating in stress, fear, inadequacy. And then they wonder why they wake up exhausted, why their habits never change, why life feels like an endless loop of the same patterns. They're programming failure every single night without realizing it. But when you understand what Hill taught, you flip the script entirely. You turn those pre-sleep minutes into your daily reprogramming session. You use that theta state window intentionally. You feed your subconscious specific, emotionalized instructions about who you're becoming. And while you sleep, while your conscious mind is offline, your subconscious goes to work executing those instructions, rewiring your neural networks, preparing the next version of you. Here's exactly how to do this. 30 minutes before your target sleep time, turn off all screens, dim the lights, create an environment of calm, lie down in bed and close your eyes. Take 10 deep breaths to signal to your nervous system that it's time to shift gears. Then begin your autosuggestion practice. State your definite command. I am a person who is free from this habit. I am rebuilding my mind. I am in complete control of my thoughts and actions. Say it aloud if possible. Whisper it if you must. But say it with conviction, with feeling, with absolute belief. Don't just recite words. Mean them. Feel them as truth. Then visualize. See yourself moving through your day without the bad habit. See yourself encountering the old triggers and choosing differently. See yourself strong, clear, purposeful. Make the visualization vivid. Add sensory details. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel in your body? The more real you make it in your imagination, the more deeply it impresses upon your subconscious. Now, and this is crucial, emotionalize it. Generate the feelings of being that person. Feel the pride of self-mastery. Feel the freedom of not being controlled. Feel the power of choosing consciously instead of reacting automatically. Feel gratitude for the transformation, as if it's already complete. Your subconscious responds to emotion more than logic. Emotion is the language it understands. Do this for 15 to 20 minutes. Some nights you'll drift off in the middle of the practice. That's perfect, you're literally falling asleep while programming success. Other nights you'll finish the practice and then naturally transition into sleep. Either way, you've given your subconscious its marching orders. And it will work through the night to make those orders reality. Napoleon Hill did this every single night for years. He would lie in bed, close his eyes, and spend the last conscious moments of his day conversing with his invisible counselors, visualizing his goals, affirming his principles, emotionalizing his desired state. He credited this practice with his ability to overcome obstacles, to maintain unwavering faith, to persist when everything seemed impossible. The man literally reprogrammed himself every night before sleep. And here's what he discovered through consistent practice. After about 2 weeks, you start noticing subtle shifts. Your reactions to triggers become slightly slower, giving you a moment to choose instead of automatically responding. After a month, the old cravings begin to lose intensity. They're still there, but they don't have the same grip. After 6 weeks, new patterns start feeling natural. The substitute behaviors you've been practicing start happening without conscious effort. This is neuroplasticity in action. Your brain is physically restructuring itself based on the consistent input you're providing. The old neural pathways associated with your bad habit are weakening from disuse. The new pathways you're building through visualization and action are strengthening with each repetition. And the pre-sleep programming accelerates this process because you're working with your brain's natural rhythms instead of against them. But there's another element Hill taught that amplifies this entire system. He called it the principle of applied faith. This isn't blind belief. This is strategic conviction. It's the practice of acting as if your transformation is already complete, even while you're still in the process of change. Most people sabotage themselves by constantly checking for results, doubting the process, questioning whether it's working. This doubt is poison to the subconscious. Remember, your subconscious accepts whatever you feed it with emotion and repetition. If you're feeding it doubt, it will manifest doubt. If you're feeding it impatience, it will manifest more reasons to be impatient. Applied faith means you proceed with absolute certainty that the transformation is happening, even when you don't see evidence yet. You act like the person you're becoming, not the person you've been. You make decisions from your new identity, not your old one. When the craving comes, you don't entertain it, analyze it, or negotiate with it. You simply dismiss it as something that no longer belongs to who you are. This isn't arrogance. This isn't self-deception. This is programming. You're telling your subconscious, this is who we are now. Update all systems accordingly. And your subconscious, being a faithful servant, begins making the necessary adjustments to align your automatic behaviors with the identity you're claiming. Hill taught that the universe, or what he sometimes called infinite intelligence, responds to definiteness of purpose backed by unwavering faith. When you know what you want, when you claim it as already yours, and when you act in alignment with that claim, reality begins to rearrange itself to match your conviction. This sounds mystical, but it's actually psychological. Your brain's reticular activating system starts filtering information and opportunities that support your new identity while ignoring what contradicts it. You become what you repeatedly tell yourself you are. Not someday. Not when you're perfect. Right now, in this moment, you are programming your identity with every thought you think and every action you take. So choose the programming deliberately. Now we need to talk about something Hill discovered that most people get catastrophically wrong: the nature of time in transformation. Everyone wants instant results. They want to wake up tomorrow completely different from who they were yesterday. But that's not how the mind works. That's not how habits form or break. That's not how neural pathways reorganize. Hill identified that real permanent change follows a specific timeline. And understanding this timeline is the difference between people who succeed and people who give up right before their breakthrough. The brain needs approximately 40 days of consistent new input to fully integrate a new pattern and begin treating it as the default setting. Think of it like this: your old habit has been reinforced thousands of times over months or years. Every repetition carved the neural pathway deeper, made it faster, made it more automatic. That pathway is a superhighway in your brain. The new behavior you're trying to install is currently a dirt path. If you practice it once or twice, the path remains barely visible. The old superhighway is still the dominant route. But if you practice the new behavior every single day, if you feed your subconscious the new programming every night, if you transmute the energy of every craving into the new action, that dirt path gradually becomes a road, then a street, then a highway. And simultaneously, the old superhighway starts collecting dust, developing cracks, becoming less traveled, less automatic, less appealing. After about 14 days of consistent practice, you'll notice the old pathway losing some of its pull. After 30 days, the new pathway starts feeling somewhat natural. After 40 days, the new behavior can become the dominant pattern, and the old one can feel like a distant memory. But here's the critical part. You must maintain consistency through all 40 days. Missing days resets the clock. Inconsistency tells your subconscious that the new pattern isn't important, and it will default back to the old programming. This is why Hill emphasized the practice of 40 days as a complete system. It's not arbitrary. 40 days is the minimum time frame for deep subconscious reprogramming. It's long enough for neural pathways to reorganize. It's long enough for the new identity to take root. It's long enough for the old cravings to lose their power. But it's also short enough to maintain focus, to see the finish line, to commit fully. So here's what Hill's practice of 40 days actually looks like, and this is the method that brings together everything we've covered. This is the blueprint for total reconstruction. The practice has 3 phases: destruction, purification, and reconstruction. Each phase has specific focus areas and techniques, but all three overlap throughout the 40 days. You're not doing them sequentially. You're doing them simultaneously, creating a comprehensive assault on the old patterns and a comprehensive building project for the new ones. Phase 1 is destruction. This is where you consciously dismantle the old habit and the identity attached to it. Every morning you write down your old habit, and beside it you write, "This pattern is dead. It no longer serves me. It no longer defines me. I am destroying it consciously." Then you cross it out violently. This is symbolic, but symbols communicate powerfully with the subconscious. You're declaring war. Throughout the day, every time you feel the old craving, you pause, take 3 deep breaths, and say internally, "This is the old program trying to survive. It has no power over me. I am in control." You acknowledge the impulse without obeying it. You observe it without identifying with it. This creates separation between you and the habit. You're no longer someone who does this. You're someone who occasionally notices an old impulse that no longer represents who you are. Phase 2 is purification. This is where you cleanse your environment, your routines, your social circles. You remove triggers. You eliminate temptations. You distance yourself from influences that reinforce the old pattern. Hill taught that you cannot become a new person in an old environment. The surroundings must change with you. This phase also includes physical purification, better nutrition, better sleep, exercise, hydration. Your body and mind are connected. When you treat your body like a temple, your mind responds by elevating its standards. When you feed yourself garbage, your mind accepts garbage behaviors. Purification is creating the conditions where the new you can thrive. Phase 3 is reconstruction. This is where you actively build the new identity through autosuggestion, visualization, and action. Every night before sleep, you perform the pre-sleep programming ritual we discussed. You state your new identity. You visualize yourself living it. You emotionalize it. You consult your invisible counselors. You fall asleep programming success. Every morning, immediately upon waking, before doing anything else, you repeat a condensed version of the practice. 5 minutes of affirmation and visualization while your mind is still in that receptive theta state. You're bookending your day with reprogramming. You're attacking the subconscious when it's most vulnerable to positive change. And throughout the day, you practice your substitute behavior. Every time you would have engaged in the old habit, you immediately execute the new one. You transmute the energy, you reinforce the new pathway. You prove to your subconscious through action that the new identity is real. This is the practice of 40 days, 3 phases happening simultaneously. Destruction of the old, purification of the environment, reconstruction of the identity. 40 days of total commitment, 40 days of unwavering focus, 40 days of conscious reprogramming. Hill promised that anyone who completes this practice with full commitment will emerge as a fundamentally different person. Not improved, different. The old identity will be dead. The new one will be firmly established. The bad habit won't just be broken, it will be irrelevant to who you've become. But here's what separates those who merely learn this from those who actually transform. Execution. You can understand every principle, you can agree with every word, but if you don't commit to the 40 days, nothing changes. Knowledge without application is worthless. Understanding without action is entertainment. So the question isn't whether this works, the question is whether you'll do it. Will you give yourself 40 days of total dedication to rebuild your mind from scratch? Will you protect the practice like your life depends on it? Because in many ways, it does. Your future self is being created right now through your current patterns. If you don't consciously construct who you're becoming, your subconscious will continue running the old programs by default. The practice of 40 days is your weapon. It's your blueprint. It's your path from prisoner to architect. From victim of habit to master of mind. From unconscious repetition to conscious creation. Everything you need to know is now in your hands. The only thing missing is your decision to begin. And that decision needs to be made right now, not tomorrow, not Monday, not next month, now. Because every day you wait is another day the old programming runs unchallenged. Every day you delay is another day the old identity strengthens. Every day you postpone is another day stolen from the person you could be becoming. Napoleon Hill taught that procrastination is the opposite of applied faith. When you truly believe in your transformation, you start immediately. When you truly commit to your new identity, you act today. Delay is doubt dressed in reasonable clothing, and doubt is the language of the old you trying to survive. So here's what I want you to do. After you finish this video, take out a piece of paper. Write at the top, "My 40-day reconstruction begins today." Then write down the specific habit you're destroying and the specific identity you're building. Be definite, be clear. This is your declaration of war and your blueprint for peace. Then tonight, before you sleep, begin the practice. Tomorrow morning, continue it. For 40 days straight, you execute the system without compromise, without negotiation, without excuses. 40 days to reprogram what might have been programmed for decades. It's the best investment of time you'll ever make. The old mind dies through starvation and attack. The new mind is born through feeding and repetition. And the practice of 40 days is the bridge between who you've been and who you're becoming. Cross that bridge with commitment, and you'll arrive at a version of yourself you barely recognize. Someone free, someone powerful, someone in complete control. That person is waiting. The practice is ready. The only question left is whether you are. Now we arrive at the moment of truth. Everything you've learned until this point has been preparation. The understanding of how habits form, how the subconscious operates, how autosuggestion works, how energy can be transmuted, how the pre-sleep state creates transformation. All of that was necessary foundation, but foundation without structure is just information. Now we build the structure. The practice of 40 days is not a casual experiment. It's not something you try when you feel motivated. It's a complete system of mental reconstruction that demands total commitment. Napoleon Hill designed this based on decades of studying human transformation, and he discovered that 40 days is the threshold where temporary effort becomes permanent identity. But here's what most people don't understand. The practice isn't just about repeating actions for 40 days. It's about executing a precise sequence of psychological techniques in a specific order, with absolute consistency. There's a methodology here, a science to the transformation, and I'm going to give you the complete blueprint right now. The 3 stages of daily practice. Your day is divided into 3 sacred moments: the morning awakening, the evening pre-sleep, and the moment of craving. Each has its own protocol, its own purpose, its own power. Master all 3, and you become unstoppable. Morning awakening protocol, the first 5 minutes. The moment your eyes open, before checking your phone, before thinking about your day, before doing anything else, you begin. Your brain is still in theta state, still transitioning from sleep to full consciousness. This is your first window of opportunity. Sit up in bed. Place your feet on the floor. Take 3 deep breaths to center yourself. Then speak your declaration aloud, not in your head. Aloud. Your voice activating your ears creates a feedback loop that impresses the subconscious more deeply. Say, "I am reconstructing my mind. The old patterns are dead. I am becoming a person of complete self-mastery. Today I choose my thoughts. I choose my actions. I choose my destiny." Then visualize for 3 minutes. See yourself moving through the day, encountering your usual triggers and choosing differently. See yourself strong, clear, purposeful. See yourself as the person you're becoming, not the person you've been. Make it vivid. Make it real. Feel it. Then state your specific transformation. I am free from specific habit. That behavior no longer represents who I am. I am someone who new behavior. This is my identity now. 5 minutes, every morning, without exception. This programs your day before the world has a chance to program you. Evening pre-sleep protocol, the last 20 minutes. We've discussed this already, but now I'm giving you the exact structure Hill used. 30 minutes before your target sleep time, eliminate all screens. Create darkness or dim lighting. Lie down. Begin with 10 deep breaths to shift your nervous system into parasympathetic mode. Then start your autosuggestion practice. But here's the specific formula Hill recommended. You're going to speak to your subconscious in second person, as if you're instructing someone else. This creates psychological distance from your old identity and makes the new identity feel more objective, more real. Say, you are becoming free from this habit. You are rebuilding your mind from scratch. You are gaining complete control over your thoughts and impulses. Every day, you grow stronger. Every day, the old patterns weaken. Every day, you become more aligned with your true purpose. Speak this for 3 to 5 minutes, then shift into visualization. But not just any visualization. Hill taught a specific technique he called sensory immersion. You don't just see yourself free from the habit, you create a complete sensory experience. Imagine yourself 1 month from now completely free. What does your day look like? Walk through it in detail. You wake up. How do you feel? What's your energy level? You encounter the old trigger. How do you respond? What thoughts go through your mind? You move through your day. What are you doing differently? Who are you spending time with? What conversations are you having? Add sensation. Feel the confidence in your body. Feel the lightness of being free. Feel the pride of self-mastery. Hear the voice in your head clear and strong, making empowered choices. Smell the environment of your new life. Taste the food you're choosing to nourish yourself with. Make it so real that your subconscious cannot distinguish it from actual memory. Do this for 10 to 15 minutes. You'll often fall asleep during the practice. Perfect. You're literally programming yourself as you drift into unconsciousness. Other times you'll complete it and then naturally transition to sleep. Either way, you've given your subconscious its instructions for the night. The moment of craving protocol, real-time transmutation. This is where theory becomes reality. This is where the practice proves itself. At some point during your 40 days, you will feel the craving. The old neural pathway will fire. The impulse will rise. This is not failure. This is opportunity. The moment you feel it, you execute the transmutation sequence. First, pause. Do not react. Do not judge yourself. Do not panic. Simply notice the old program is attempting to activate. Second, take 3 deep breaths. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 4. Exhale for 6. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system and creates space between impulse and action. Third, state your identity. I am not this craving. I am the observer of this craving. I am someone who has moved beyond this pattern. This impulse has no power over me. Fourth, transmute the energy immediately. Execute your predetermined substitute behavior. If your old habit was smoking, you go for a 10-minute walk. If it was junk food, you drink a full glass of water and eat something nutritious. If it was social media scrolling, you read 3 pages of a book. If it was procrastination, you work on your most important task for 15 minutes. The key is immediacy. You transmute the energy the moment it arises before the craving can build momentum. You redirect the neural pathway before the old autopilot fully activates. This is how you retrain the brain. Trigger leads to new response, over and over, until the new response becomes automatic. The 7 principles of mental reconstruction. Napoleon Hill identified 7 core principles that must be active throughout your 40-day practice. These aren't separate from the morning, evening, and craving protocols. These are the underlying attitudes and beliefs that make the protocols effective. Principle 1. Definiteness of purpose. You must know exactly what you're building and why. Vague desires create vague results. Write down specifically, I am destroying exact habit because specific reason. I am building exact new identity because specific vision. Principle 2. Applied faith. You proceed with absolute certainty that the transformation is happening even before you see complete evidence. You act as if you're already the person you're becoming. Your behavior today reflects your identity tomorrow. Principle 3. Organized planning. You don't leave transformation to chance. You schedule your morning practice. You protect your evening practice. You prepare your substitute behaviors in advance. You control your environment. You eliminate triggers proactively. This is strategic warfare, not wishful thinking. Principle 4. Persistence. You will face resistance. You will have difficult days. The old you will fight back. You persist anyway. Hill taught that persistence is to character what carbon is to steel. It's what makes you unbreakable. Principle 5. Mastermind alliance. Surround yourself with people who support your transformation. Share your commitment with someone you trust. Find others who are on the same path. The energy of like minds amplifies individual effort. Isolation breeds failure. Alliance breeds strength. Principle 6. Transmutation of energy. We've covered this extensively. Every impulse, every craving, every urge is raw energy. You don't suppress it, you redirect it. You become an alchemist, turning lead into gold, turning destructive impulses into constructive action. Principle 7. The subconscious mind. Everything we've discussed comes back to this. Your subconscious is the key to permanent change. Feed it the right input consistently, and it will reprogram your automatic behaviors. Starve it of new input, and it will continue running old programs indefinitely. These 7 principles aren't optional additions. They're the operating system that makes the 40-day practice work. Learn them, internalize them, live them. The stages of transformation. What to expect. Hill documented the typical progression people experience during the 40 days. Knowing this roadmap prevents you from quitting when things get hard. Days 1 to 7, the excitement phase. You're motivated, you're energized. The practice feels fresh. You execute it enthusiastically. The old cravings are still strong, but your willpower is high. This is the honeymoon period. Enjoy it, but don't rely on it. Motivation fades. Systems endure. Days 8 to 14, the resistance phase. The novelty wears off. The old you starts fighting back hard. You'll feel doubt. You'll question if it's working. The cravings might actually intensify because your brain is trying to pull you back to the familiar. This is the danger zone where most people quit. If you push through this week, you've crossed the first major threshold. Days 15 to 25, the adjustment phase. Something shifts. The cravings begin to lose intensity. The new behaviors start feeling slightly more natural. You're not relying purely on willpower anymore. The new neural pathways are beginning to establish themselves. You're still in the fight, but you're winning more battles than you're losing. Days 26-35, the integration phase. The new identity is taking root. You start to forget about the old habit for hours at a time. When cravings do come, they're weaker, easier to redirect. You're acting more from the new programming than the old. You can feel yourself becoming different. Days 36-40, the solidification phase. You're cementing the transformation. The new behaviors feel increasingly automatic. You're no longer white-knuckling through temptation. You're simply choosing differently because that's who you are now. The old identity is dead. The new one is alive and strengthening daily. Day 41 and beyond, the maintenance phase. The 40 days aren't the end. They're the beginning of your new normal. But after 40 days of intensive reprogramming, maintaining the new pattern requires far less effort. You've built the highway. Now you just need to keep traveling it. The morning and evening practices can be shortened. The substitute behaviors are now automatic. You're free. The final truth. Here's what Napoleon Hill learned through a lifetime of studying human potential. Most people never become who they could be because they never commit to the process of deliberate reconstruction. They wait for change to happen to them instead of causing it to happen within them. They hope motivation will carry them instead of building systems that work regardless of how they feel. The truth is brutal and liberating at the same time. You are exactly who you've programmed yourself to be. Every habit, every pattern, every automatic behavior exists because you've reinforced it thousands of times through repetition. You created this, and what you created, you can destroy, and what you destroy, you can rebuild better. The 40-day practice is your chisel and your blueprint. It's how you destroy the old statue and carve a new one from the same stone. It's how you take everything you are and transform it into everything you could be. But it only works if you work it. It only transforms you if you execute it with total commitment, without compromise, without negotiation. 40 days seems long when you're starting. It seems short when you're finished, because at the end of those 40 days, you don't just break a habit. You become someone for whom that habit is irrelevant. You don't just change your behavior, you change your identity. And when identity changes, everything changes. So I'm going to ask you directly, are you ready? Are you ready to give yourself 40 days of complete dedication to rebuilding your mind from scratch? Are you ready to wake up every morning and program yourself before the world does? Are you ready to fall asleep every night, reprogramming your subconscious? Are you ready to transmute every craving into power? If you're ready, then it starts right now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Right now, in this moment, you make the decision. You declare war on the old you, and you commit to birthing the new one. You stop hoping for change and you start engineering it. Napoleon Hill taught that the starting point of all achievement is desire backed by faith and crystallized into action. You have the desire or you wouldn't have watched this far. You're developing the faith as you understand the principles. Now comes the action. Now comes the 40 days that change everything. Begin today. Execute the morning protocol tomorrow. Execute the evening protocol tonight. When the craving comes, execute the transmutation. Do this for 40 days without exception. And watch as the person you've always wanted to be emerges from the ashes of who you used to be. The old mind dies through starvation and conscious dismantling. The new mind is born through feeding and deliberate construction. The practice of 40 days is the mechanism. You are the operator. The transformation is inevitable if you don't quit. And remember this above all else. You're not fighting your habit. You're not resisting temptation. You're not struggling against your nature. You're simply becoming someone different. Someone for whom the old patterns don't exist because they don't align with who you are anymore. That person is not in the future. That person is being created right now with every decision you make, with every thought you choose, with every practice you execute. The architect of your mind is you. The blueprint is in your hands. The construction begins the moment you decide it does. 40 days, complete reconstruction, total transformation. It's not a promise, it's a proven system. Napoleon Hill spent his life documenting how ordinary people became extraordinary by learning to control their minds. Now you have the same tools, the same knowledge, the same power. The only question that remains is what you'll do with it. Napoleon Hill taught that the greatest power a human being possesses is not physical strength, not wealth, not connections. It's the power to choose deliberately what you think and who you become. You've just received the complete roadmap for mental reconstruction. Now there's only one question left. Will you use it? Subscribe to this channel if you're committed to your transformation. Activate the notification bell because every video here is a tool for reprogramming your mind. And leave a comment right now. Write, I am rebuilding my mind from scratch. Don't write it as an empty phrase. Write it as a declaration of war against the old version of yourself. Because from this moment forward, you are no longer a prisoner of your habits. You are the architect of your reality. The mind you rebuild in silence today will be the fortress that protects you tomorrow. The identity you construct through these 40 days will be the foundation of everything you build for the rest of your life. Start now. The morning protocol begins tomorrow. The evening protocol begins tonight. The transmutation begins the next time you feel the craving. 40 days of complete dedication, 40 days of systematic reconstruction, 40 days that separate who you've been from who you're becoming. And remember, every master was once a disaster who refused to stay destroyed. Every transformed person was once trapped in patterns that seemed unbreakable. Every powerful mind was once a prisoner who learned the tools of liberation. You have those tools now. The question is never whether transformation is possible. The question is only whether you're willing to execute the process that makes it inevitable. The old you ends here. The new you begins now, and everything you've ever wanted is waiting on the other side of these 40 days. Go claim it.